Hello, my friends, and welcome to Simply Hooked, a crochet podcast. I'm your host, Marcy, a crochet designer, mom of two, and creative entrepreneur. Here we celebrate the joy of crochet and talk about what it really means to create a life you love through your own unique gifts. So I want to share a question that I wrestled with a couple years ago and get your thoughts on it. Looking back, I'm almost embarrassed that I even asked myself this question, but at the time it was a real concern of mine. So here it is. Not if, but when I reach the point where my crochet business is supporting my family, would that be selfish? Would I be choosing a career path that is self-indulgent instead of truly contributing to society? At first, that question might sound a little dramatic, but let me tell you, when I really sat with it, it carried a lot of weight. And if you've ever doubted the value of your own creative work or questioned whether chasing your dreams matters, this episode is especially for you. So here's what was happening. For many years, I worked in jobs that felt important. I had roles where I could clearly see the impact I was making, and that was fulfilling. I loved knowing that I was contributing to something bigger than myself. But when I started leaning more into my crochet business, this doubt started to creep in. Would writing crochet patterns or selling kits really matter to anyone? Or was it just me chasing a personal dream that didn't actually serve other people? And here's the thing, I don't think I'm alone in this. I think a lot of us as creatives wrestle with this exact fear. Because society trains us to measure contribution by certain benchmarks, like, are you providing an essential service? Are you helping a company grow? Are you producing something people will absolutely need? And are you making personal sacrifices along the way? Creative work doesn't always fit neatly into these categories. Designing crochet patterns, painting, jewelry making, macrame, it's easy to dismiss these as extras or nice to haves. And so, without even realizing it, we start to believe the lie that creative work isn't a contribution. But here's the truth. Creative work is essential. It might not keep the lights on in a hospital or pave new roads in a city, but it does something just as vital. It keeps joy, connection, rest, and self-expression alive. And without those, society would crumble too. Imagine a world without books, without music, without art, without handmade crafts. It would be a grind of obligations, purely functional. And who wants to live in a world like that? So let's unpack why creative work matters and why crochet specifically is far from selfish. First, crochet supports mental health. This is a big one. It's not just a hobby, it's a proven stress reliever. There are studies that show crafting lowers anxiety, reduces blood pressure, and even boosts serotonin. And when I create patterns, I'm not just giving someone instructions to make a toy, I'm giving them permission to carve out a little me time, to sit down after a long day, pick up a hook, and let their body relax into those calming, repetitive stitches. That is not selfish. That is medicine for the soul. Also, crochet creates keepsakes that carry meaning. This one is really sweet. So many people that use my patterns make gifts for their loved ones, a giraffe lovey for a newborn, a handmade teddy bear for a toddler's birthday, a bunny plushie for an Easter basket. And these aren't just toys, they are treasures. They're infused with love, care, and intention. Years from now, kids will still be snuggling with that same handmade lovey that once started with one of my designs. Crochet also fuels small businesses. Something I didn't expect when I first started designing patterns is how many other entrepreneurs rely on them. Some of my customers aren't just hobbyists. They buy my designs, make the finished plushies, and then sell them at markets or Etsy or their own websites. So for them, my pattern isn't just a pattern, it's inventory, it's income, it's a way to support their families. And that means my small business actually helps sustain other small businesses. And that ripple effect is a really beautiful thing. Lastly, crochet strengthens community. Crafting has always been about community. Whether it's meeting in circles, swapping tips, or posting photos online, Crochet connects people. Every time I publish a new pattern, I get to be a part of that chain of connection. People tag me in their makes, they share what they've learned with others, they gift their creations to loved ones. It's this web of connection that grows wider and stronger with each project, and it starts with creativity. When I look at all of these contributions, I realized calling it selfish was completely misleading. Because if creatives stopped creating, if the books, music, movies, and handmade goods just disappeared, life would be pretty dull and just functional. Creative work might not cure a disease, but it does cure something else. Exhaustion, burnout, stress, disconnection. It breathes life back into people. And that is not selfish. That is generous. And just in case I still needed convincing, I started paying attention to the messages and the stories I was getting from my customers. One mom told me that her daughter can't fall asleep without the bear lovey that she made for my pattern. Another crocheter showed me how she built much of her craft booth around animals she made for my designs, and how sales from that booth helped her pay bills that month. And beginner crocheters reach out to say how my patterns gave them the confidence to keep going after almost giving up on crochet altogether. And these are not hypothetical. These are real lives being touched by something I created at my desk with a hook, some yarn, and my creative juices. So when I think about what it would mean for me to support my family fully through crochet, I no longer see it as taking away from society. I see it as a way to provide more resources because I'd have the time to design more patterns, record more tutorials, and create more tools for makers. It'd also be a way to provide more support for small businesses because more makers could use my patterns to grow their own shops. And it would provide more joy in homes because every plushie or lovey or blanket made from my designs would put a smile on a little one's face. And it would provide more inspiration because I could show other creatives that their work matters too and encourage them to chase their dreams. Now, that does not sound selfish to me. That sounds like a contribution worth celebrating. Because at the heart of it, creativity is one of the ways we serve the world around us. It is part of the larger puzzle of life, just as essential as the practical pieces, because it brings the color, the meaning, the connection to everything else that we do. Without it, life would feel incomplete. So here's the takeaway, friend. If you've ever thought your creative dream was indulgent or less than, I want you to hear me loud and clear. It is not. Your creativity matters, your art matters, your writing, music, designs, they all enrich the world in ways you cannot always measure. Maybe you help someone heal. Maybe you make them smile. Maybe you give them courage to create something themselves. Whatever it looks like, it is not selfish. It's generous. So thank you for joining me today. If this encouraged you, I would love for you to share it with a fellow creative who might need the reminder that their work matters. Also, leave a quick review. It really helps more makers find the show. And you can connect with me on Instagram at simplyhooked1 or send me an email at hello@marcymade.co. And don't forget to visit my website for crochet patterns and details on my Learn to Crochet course. And before you go, I would love to hear from you. If you're listening on Spotify, drop a comment, tell me what project you're working on, or tag me on Facebook or Instagram. I love seeing all of your makes come to life. So thanks for hanging out with me today, friends, and I will see you back here next week.